once again to Let's Talk Marriage. This is Pastor Larry coming to you on this Wednesday afternoon. All right. Welcome once again to Let's Talk Marriage. I'm Pastor Larry. I hope everyone's doing fine. If you woke up this morning, you are doing fine. Let's get right on into our topic today. Our topic on today is marital conflicts. Marital conflicts is bound to happen in any marriage. In the best of marriages, you're going to have some sort of conflict or disagreement or even arguments. But what we want to do is to address how to overcome those things when you have those conflicts in your marriage. One of the things you need to find out is what brought on the conflict in the first time. A lot of times it's something from the past or something that happened yesterday or something that even happened in the morning or something that happened the night before. But it's something that came up or comes up that will bring on questions that start a conflict. A lot of times it's things from your past, things that weren't addressed before you got married. Things like that might come up. That's why it's important to address a lot of things before you say I do. We said that in one of the sessions before you walk down the aisle, certain questions you might ask. Because if it's not asked at that time, it will come back up again. And sometimes we hopefully it doesn't come up as a conflict, but most of the times it does. It'll come up as a conflict. And, things from your past. And you said this and I said that. You know how you remember stuff from. It's funny how it's easy to remember things that are negative versus things that are positive. For instance, you will remember if the husband didn't take out the garbage. But if he takes it out, you don't remember that. Or if the wife fixes a wonderful meal one day and then one day she was having a hard time. You remember that, but you don't remember when she fixed a good meal. So a lot of times these conflicts come up from things, again, from your past hurts, past pains that were never addressed in a lot of relationships that you were in before. If there's no closure on those relationships, you'll carry that baggage over into the next relationship. And when you carry that baggage over the next relationship, you might question your current spouse over from something from a previous relationship. So we have to make sure that we address those things and have closure on those previous relationships that we might have had. We have to make sure that those things are addressed from previous relationships. One of the things that's key in battling conflicts is having good communication. When you have good communication, most of the times you don't get into a conflict or disagreement. Because sometimes when you get into conflicts or disagreement, it's just exactly what it is, that someone got misunderstood, someone took it the wrong way. One of the parties might say something, the other party might feel like they're yelling. But sometimes they're not really yelling, they're trying to express themselves. And if one person is continually talking and don't let the other one talk, that's part of communication. You say something, then they say something. While they're saying something, you don't say anything. And while they're saying something, you don't say anything. But the conflict comes when one person is continually talking, and then the other one jumps in and interrupts them. Yeah, but you and that takes it up to a whole nother level. So if you learn to live, part of having good communication is listening. And a lot of us don't want to listen, especially when someone is telling you something that you feel like it might be negative. You don't want to hear that. But sometimes they're saying something that might seem negative to you, but it's something they're trying to address. And if there's something they're trying to address, the best practice is to listen first before you respond. And then before you respond, think And my wife always said, "Oh, I can tell in your expressions." And make sure your expressions are neutral. What I mean, you don't want to while they talk, looking like that and making faces, because already know that the words gonna come out match your expressions. So if you have a neutral expression where when you speak, first of all, you have to think before you respond to in the middle of a conflict. You have to think before you respond because sometimes you can just say stuff off the top of your head just to get back at the person. Yeah, but you said this and that's why this and that's why that. You get into one of those tit for tats. So you don't want to get in something like that where the conflict gets escalated and you go walk around slamming doors and throwing plates at folks and just get crazy and just start name calling, start talking about their family, and you start talking about his family. You don't want to get into that because guess what? The next time when you get into that, the next time you go around, your family gonna just be sitting there looking crazy like and try to avoid bringing up old flames in the middle of a conflict. Oh, little Johnny didn't treat me like that. That's why I should, bring up no old flames in the middle of a conflict. That escalated even more, and you don't want that to happen in a relationship. Again, communication is the key to solving most issues. And then if you have communication, a lot of times if you have communication, it'll never escalate to a full blown argument. Learn how to. This is another thing that's very, very, very important. One of the things that continue conflicts is we don't know how to forgive each other, and we don't know how to forgive ourselves. If it was something that you did, and you ask for forgiveness for, and you get forgiven for, you have to learn how to forgive yourself before you ask someone to forgive you. You have to learn how to forgive yourself. You don't want to carry that guilt around because it'll lead to other conflicts. But one of the things we have to learn how to do is learn how to forgive someone. And when you forgive someone, you have to forget about it. You don't forgive them one day, then bring it up the next day. If you know what, if you bring it up the next day, it's going to start a conflict all over again. So you definitely don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you learn how to forgive people. Sometimes it seems simple to forgive someone, especially if you feel like you've really, really been hurt by someone. But if you decide to forgive them, make sure you forget about it. Don't keep bringing it up because some people will forgive you one minute and bring it up the next minute or bring it up the next day. And stop having that photographic memory. People tend to have photographic memories of something bad that happened to them. They remember when you did this or didn't do that, or they remember that the day, the time, the hour, the minute that you did that, what you had on, what you were eating, what you were drinking. They remember all that. But if something good is happening, remember good things that happen. Even like in the middle of a conflict, if it's something you miss that your spouse used to do and he doesn't do it anymore, make sure if you're having a conflict or just remember to bring it up. Remember when you used to do that? I used to really love that when you did that. And then if you said that, it's saying you're also communicating with him that, or him or he or she, that you love that thing that they did for you at that time, and you would like them to continue that without saying you used to do that, but now you ain't know. If you say it is the way, all in your delivery. If you say it the proper way, then they'll remember the next time that you like to be treated in that certain manner. For instance, if you once used to go out or had date night all the time, it was a ritual that you did it every, let's say Tuesday. Every Tuesday you did date night. Then all of a sudden you stopped for whatever reason, financially or some work related that you were too tired to continue it, and you get in a conflict, and the other party might bring up, I remember we used to always have date night, and we really enjoyed having date night. And when you do that, then they'll remember the next time to honor what you requested or what you felt that was proactive or what was positive in the marriage. So we want to make sure that we uh, try to avoid conflicts. It's just a good thing to try to avoid it, but don't leave nothing that's gonna come back to haunt you. Or some things has to be addressed. You have to figure out a way how to bring it up to be addressed. Because if you bring it up the wrong way, then it's going to cause more conflict. So if it's something that was been bothering you or something, like one of the main things that women hate when men leave the toilet seat up. You know what? You have to be a really young couple for that to be a big thing in the household. Because if you've been married over a certain time, you ought to know better than that. And she wants to address it. That's nothing for you to get upset about. Because nobody want to go in the bathroom and sit on a cold porcelain seat. That's that's not fun. So if something like that is brought up, you have to make sure that when you respond, you have the right answer. Or no answer like, well, you can put it down. You got to, like that. You don't want to respond like that, or purposely doing it just to be spiteful. Yeah, you have to be considerate of each other, and that's one of the things that goes on when you have a great communication within a marriage. Sometimes it's hard to communicate on certain subjects, but we have to learn how to open the door for it. And one of the things you don't want to do is beat around the bush. I was going to say something. What are you going to say? Never mind. Never mind. No, that's irritating. You don't do that. If you got something to say, just go ahead and say it. First of all, you have to think on how you're going to communicate that without offending somebody. Because, nowadays folks get offended for anything. People get offended for every little thing. So you have to be very careful when you're in the middle of having a discussion. Let's just say discussion. When you're having a discussion with someone. First of all, make sure you bring up all the good things. Don't keep harping on what you wanted to have the conversation about in the first place. Don't keep harping on that. Because if you keep harping on that, then the other party going to want to retaliate and start saying what you did that was negative. And then, well, that's because I did that. You ain't got to bring that up. What that got to do with this? You get into one of those arguments, and you don't want to go to that place. We want to make sure that we are communicating with each other. And sometimes it's hard. And if you constantly, especially if you really love each other, and some people really love each other, but they just, because there's two different personalities, they're going to clash all the time. And if you find yourself in that position, it's not a bad idea to seek marriage counseling. That way you'll have a neutral party in the midst of it. Don't go telling people that's on your side something negative about your spouse. You don't do that, because next time they see him, they're gonna be looking at him funny, like, yeah, there he is. He ain't no good. Yeah, you don't want that. You want to go to counseling. There's nothing wrong with going to a marriage counselor, or even to your pastor or something like that. If you have any questions on marriage. And make sure you both are in agreement to go, because you don't want one to go and the other one don't want to go. He just went because you asked him to. Because all they're going to do is just sit there and say, yeah, whatever. You can't tell me what to do. You don't want that. You want to be something that you both agree on. And then there's a way that you ask about going and for counseling. You don't want to make it seem like your marriage just done fell apart and he ain't no good and you trying to save it, Make yourself seem like you're super, You want to make sure that you both are in agreement to going and for counseling. And that way you can easily learn to communicate. Again, communication is not always that easy, but it's simple. And just because something is simple does not mean it's going to be easy. So when you communicate, make sure you think before you say something, because a lot of times you might say something off the top of your head, get upset, and the next thing you know, you're in an argument. and somebody sleeping on the couch, somebody get thrown out. I'm going to Johnny Lee house tonight. Ain't sleeping in. You don't want that to happen. I'm going home to my mama. You don't want that to happen. You want to make sure that you communicate with each other in the marriage. And the marriage will go a lot smoother if there's communication in the marriage. And the communication, again, is not easy, but it's attainable. So if you work toward communication, you can easily work out most conflicts that we have in our marriage and learn to enjoy each other. And when you enjoy each other, that way, when you are in the middle of a conflict, you can bring up and say, remember when you did so and so and so, I really liked that, I really enjoyed that. Now, this is Pastor Larry. We're going to be signing off here. We were talking about marital conflicts. Until we meet again, this is Pastor Larry, and we are going to be signing off today, and we'll see you the next time we see you. God bless you. Take care. Take care. Take care.